Okay, so part three, we're going to focus a little more on the coursework. It bears repeating, so we're also going to go over this again next week, but I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, want to know something about what's involved this semester, so here we go. First, you're going to form a team of 5 people to pose and answer a research question that can be answered with simple statistical analysis using a data set. And then you're going to do some reading of research papers that illustrate how empirical research is done and take some quizzes on the readings. But most of the work is about posing and answering a research question with simple statistical analysis as done in the R programming languages. So your first task is to form a team. You can use any size team. You can have any size team as long as it's got exactly 5 members, including yourself. In other words, you form a team of 5, only 5. You may not have a team of 3. You may not have a team of 6. You may not work alone. You may not work with one of your other friends. You must have a team of 5. Don't even bother asking if you can have a team of 4. The answer is no. 5 is the number of team members, and the size of the team is 5. No more than 5, no less than 5. We've posted a file to the Slack channel under, I'm sorry, this is no longer called assignments, it's called announcements, that has the instructions for how to create and join a group. So you need to sign up for Slack if you haven't, because that's where you're going to find out how to join a group. And it's under the announcements channel, not the assignments channel. Once you've joined a group, then as a group, you need to create a project plan, and you need to put that project plan on a Kanban board. If you don't know what a Kanban board is, don't worry. We're going to explain that next week. Is it next week or following week in project management? It's just a matrix of tasks and their statuses. Quite useful, used very often to manage software projects, and it will help you if you take it seriously. Okay, so part of your infrastructure is your Kanban board, and part of it is your source code management repository. You'll use Git to create and manage that, and you will store it on the Bitbucket cloud so that we can access it too. You may be wondering, well, I'm doing AI. Why do I need a Git repository? The short answer is if you don't have a Git repository, you can't pass this module because you're going to submit your homework, your deliverables, forgive me, via Git. If you don't have a Git repository, you can't submit your deliverables. If you can't submit your deliverables, you won't get a grade for them. If you don't get a grade for them, you can't pass the module. If you can't pass the module, you'll have to do it again next year. So, the easy thing to do is create a Git repository. Now, a lot of groups don't seem to be able to do this on the first try. It's not hard, but you have to pay attention. So, pay attention, do it right, because it's extremely important. If you don't have a Git repository, and if we can't access it, you can't submit your deliverables. If you can't submit your deliverables, you can't get a grade on them. We don't accept deliverables via email. We don't accept deliverables via Canvas, except for the final report, which has to be submitted both via Git and via Canvas. So, just do it. Then you're going to need to choose a data set. there's this website called data.world. It's got a community that contains a lot of data sets. So the first thing that you want to do after you've signed up for Slack is probably join the so-called open data community. Sign up for an account, it's free, and then you will have access to some 200,000 data sets. You'll have no trouble finding something interesting here. Okay, so that's data.world. You want a community account, and you'll need to sign up. Okay, data.world has commercial offerings as well. That's not what we're interested in. We are just interested in the data sets. Now, some of you are going to ask, can we use Kaggle? No, you cannot use Kaggle. Got it? Data.world, not Kaggle. Can we use the World Bank dataset? No. Data.world datasets only. Not World Bank, not UN, not something that your friend has, not something that your friend used last year. Data.world. Period. If you can't find a dataset on data.world, you're not looking hard enough. There's, like I said, look at this. There's 203,000 data sets. So if you don't find one, you're just not trying. Okay, once you've chosen a data set, you're going to want to read the papers, and you're going to want to form a research question. Reading the papers gives you an idea of the different kinds of research questions you can ask, but beware. We're only going to allow 3 kinds of research questions. Research questions that ask, is there a correlation between some independent variable and a dependent variable? Is there a difference in mean value of some characteristic between 2 populations? And is there a difference in proportion of some characteristic among 2 populations? So those are the 3 things we're going to focus on here. Now, some of these papers go beyond that in terms of the research question, and we want you to have an understanding that statistics only forms a small part of the possible research questions you can ask. But for your coursework, you have to ask a question related to statistics. And you need to take the quizzes. Those are scheduled for Fridays. They're on the home page. And you need to have read and understood the research papers, and you need to understand what descriptive statistics are. Okay, so that's a sort of overview of the coursework. What you need to do next? Join Slack. Well, you've already done that, haven't you? Join data.world. Already mentioned that. It bears repeating. Join data.world. Open a free account on Grammarly.com and make sure it gets integrated into your Outlook and into your word processor. Join Slack. Use the Meet Your Peers channel on Slack, and you can see already, here's what happens. Slack gives me notifications when people post, so I get that right away, even in the middle of lecture. There's a channel created called Meet Your Peers where you can start talking to potential group mates already before you even meet them in person in the tutorials. Join Slack, start communicating. Do it now, because the people that start early are the ones that do the best work. And so you want to join a group with other people that start early. You're going to need to know how to use Notepad++, not Windows Notepad, but an actual programming editor. Okay, it doesn't have to be Notepad++. You can use VI, you can use Vim, you can use Emacs. But if you don't know what any of those things are, install Notepad++, because we're going to use plain text extensively. And so you're going to need to be able to edit files that are plain text and have the proper structure. If you've already been exposed to statistics, you might want to review. That won't be necessary. We'll take you through all the techniques you need to know, but it doesn't hurt to know something about that in advance. And it wouldn't hurt to start to install and start playing around with R now. The nice thing about R is that there are tons of resources on the internet. Really good tutorials, really good examples. So there's really no need to stress about R. And we're not even going to give you a textbook because it'd be pointless. The web is much better. Right, so that's the end of the overview today. If you have any questions, post them to Slack like Steve Bennett has been doing during the end of this lecture, and you'll be surprised how quickly you get an answer. But you got to be a member of our Slack workspace before you can do it. So do it now. Come on, do it! Do it now!